So the first one is finding a lump in your breast surely means that you have breast cancer.
That's a myth. All breast lumps are not cancer, particularly in women who are under the age of 30. There are many benign lumps that you can get, like fibroadenoma is one of the most common benign tumors in young women. So every lump in the breast must be evaluated by a breast cancer surgeon, but every breast lump is not a cancer.
And then the second one is only women get breast cancer.
No, that's also a myth. Men can also get breast cancer. It's called male breast cancer, and male breast cancer is also treated pretty much in the same way as we treat female breast cancer.
So another one is a mammogram can also cause breast cancer to spread.
It's a myth. Mammogram gives such a minuscule dose of radiation that if you were to be just walking around in the streets of any part of the world in 3 weeks, you would get the same amount of radiation just from your environment, what is called ambient radiation, as you would get by getting a mammogram. So the radiation from a mammogram is minuscule. You get a mammogram technically in terms of radiation every 3 weeks anyway. And a mammogram is very useful in picking up breast cancer. So the advantages are far greater than any, very minimal risk. So it doesn't cause spread. It causes early detection of breast cancer and saves lives.
So if the gene mutation of BRCA1 and BRCA2 is detected in your DNA, then most definitely you will develop breast cancer. How true is that?
Not most definitely, but the chances and risks are very high, and particularly as every decade of life goes by, the risk also exceeds 65 to 70%. Yeah, the chances become high, but they're not 100%.
So another thing which a lot of people, debate about is deodorants and antiperspirants cause breast cancer.
That's also a myth. They do not.
And then wearing a bra can cause breast cancer, and specifically the wire bra.
That's also a myth. All bras are good supports for the breast, and they do not cause breast cancer.
And then carrying your cell phone in the bra can cause breast cancer because of the radiation.
Another myth. It does not cause breast cancer.
And
Absolutely
then hair.
not.
Okay. And then hair dye is linked to a higher risk of breast cancer.
There were some studies which tried to bring about an association, but they were not substantiated. So the answer is no, that's a myth. Hair dye does not cause breast cancer.
And then annual mammograms are sure shot way of diagnosing breast cancer early, which you already said.
That's a very good question. They are a very good and probably the best method that we know of diagnosing breast cancer, but they are also not 100% foolproof. Whenever you get a mammogram report, you'll find a line written at the bottom that mammogram is good enough to pick up 90% of the cancers, but it may miss 10% of the cancers. And that is why an ultrasound is recommended as an adjunctive modality to be done along with the mammogram. So those cancers which may be missed by a mammogram are likely to be picked up by the ultrasound. But there is no test in the world which is 100% foolproof. You can only make the best of what is available, and that is annual mammogram and ultrasound, both of which are complementary.
And then breast cancer only happens to middle-aged and older women.
The incidence of breast cancer is highest in women above the age of 40 and 45. That is true. 45 to 60 is the peak age group. So it is a disease of the middle-aged and older women. But there are plenty of women below the age of 40 who also get breast cancer. There is a significant incidence even below that, and that is why women have to be aware of their breast. They have to do self-breast examinations. But the incidence peaks above the age of 40, and that is why breast cancer screening begins at the age of 40.
And then oral contraceptives, they increase the risk of breast cancer.
They did in the past, particularly because the doses of estrogens in the oral contraceptive pills was substantial. And as I mentioned, estrogen is a risk factor for developing breast cancer. But now most of the oral contraceptive pills have minuscule doses of estrogen. So the risk is very, very small, and that also with prolonged use of oral contraceptives. But that being said, prolonged use of oral contraceptive use is a risk factor for breast cancer even now. We do take a history for that.
Okay. And then hormonal replacement therapy, that increases the risk for breast cancer.
Yes, it does. Hormonal replacement therapy is again high doses of estrogen and usually
Yeah.
given to women who've either lost their ovaries or have attained menopause and are struggling with symptoms, or there are other criteria for getting HRT, hormone replacement
Mm.
therapy, and it is a risk factor for developing breast cancer, endometrial, which is uterine cancer. It is a risk factor. Yeah.
So, those were all my questions. Thank you so much for taking out the time to do it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Divya. It was lovely answering all your questions, and I hope that your audience finds this informative.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, this brings me to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Quick Mommy Hacks, and follow me on Instagram